Hey everyone, so today I am going to be doing a 2-week wrap-up as well as a small book haul. I'm just going to give you kind of a brief overview of the books that I've read this week, or over the last 2 weeks. This is from December 15th through December 29th. In 14 days I read 16 books, almost 17. I'll also tell you about the current book that I'm reading. I'm going to jump right on in and get started. The first 2 books that I have to talk about is Remember When 2 and Remember When 3. And they are both by T. Tourist. This is a trilogy. The first book I talked about a couple of weeks ago. And this book, the second and third books pick up after high school. The first book is just about the 2 main characters, Layla and Trip, and they are in high school. And then the second book picks up 10 years later, whenever they're not in high school. The third book picks up a total of 15 years from when they're in high school, so 5 years from the second book. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away because I'll just give the entire plot. I gave the second book 3 stars and I gave the third book 4 stars. I really enjoyed the series. It wasn't my very favorite, but I did enjoy it. The third book I have to talk about today is Savior by Fiona Cole. This is a new to me author and I really enjoyed this book. Savior is about Eric and Alexandra, and Alex is a starving 18-year-old who's extremely poor. She lives with her sister who is addicted to drugs, and she's trying to provide for them both. And her sister also lives with her boyfriend who is abusive and is just a really overall bad guy. So Alex starts looking at ways to make money because she is literally starving to death. And she finds a way where she can sell her virginity to make money. And so she does that. And the guy that shows up is Eric. Eric has been looking for girls who are selling themselves or who have pimps because his little sister, both of his little sisters, were abducted on vacation and sold, their bodies sold. And so he is trying to help other women because he feels like he let down his sisters. And so he goes to the hotel room himself, and he's gorgeous and he's kind of an asshole. And he basically gives her a reality check that, it's not like she's just gonna lose her virginity and get money and they're just gonna let her go on her way, that she was gonna be sold. He puts the fear of God in her. And it is their love story. He ends up moving her into his house, giving her a job, and it is a very slow burn romance. And he is the epitome of an asshole hero. I really enjoyed it. There is cheating in this story, kind of, sort of, because they're not really together. But anyway, it's really good. The fourth book I've read in the last couple of weeks is The Savior by J.R. Ward. I just talked about this in my best of books. This is about Murder and Sarah. It is their love story. I have been wanting to read Murder for a very long time, and I was super excited when this book came out. I did go ahead and read it, and obviously I really enjoyed it. Don't want to go into too much details because this is like the 18th or 19th book in a series, and if you haven't read it before, you just wouldn't understand. Following The Savior, I immediately picked up Blood Truth by J.R. Ward. This is the Black Dagger Brother Legacy series. This is about Boone and Helena. I believe that's it. Helena. Boone and Helena. And it is very good, very angsty. I enjoyed this book, but not as much. I gave it 4 stars instead of 5, which is my typical for a Black Dagger Brotherhood book. I did enjoy it, but what I'm really most excited for is Sin. His character is the closest to Z that I can get, which Z is my favorite character in this whole series. He's the ultimate damaged hero, but Sin is going to be, I am so ecstatic for Sin. I cannot wait for his book. He is another damaged hero in this story. I love a good damaged hero, what can I say? The 8th book that I read, I'm going to more than likely butcher, but it's Rhythm, Chord, and Malakan by Mariana Zapata. I don't know if I said that last word right. This follows Gabby and Sasha, and it is a romance centered around several groups of guys who are in bands, and it is following them while they're on the tour bus. Gabby is the little sister of one of the band members, and her brother is not one of the headlining bands, but he is like one of the close-up ones to it. It's like the next up to headlining, and she's been following them around. It's her twin brother. They're extremely close, and so she goes in, and it's supposed to be like her last tour, and she ends up meeting the headlining band. She'd never seen them before, and ends up being Sasha's band. And their banter and their chemistry together is very cute. I loved the banter. I really enjoyed the story. Overall, I gave it 4 stars though, because there's just way too many mentions about bodily fluids that it kind of started to gross me out. This author, I've noticed, really likes poop jokes and talking about things that are just not very funny and like, I don't know, like high school teenage boy humor. And it just got a little over the top for me, a little too much mention on that. But overall, I really still enjoyed the story, so I did give it 4 stars. After that book, I picked up Culty by Mariana Zapata. I felt that this book was really good. I really enjoyed it. It is huge, as you can tell. I love the slow burn in it. It is a soccer romance. I really enjoyed the main character. I enjoyed this book, but let me just show you a close-up. Do you see all those orange tabs? That's not all of them, but those orange tabs were the amount of times that she mentioned the word poop. I didn't do half of what was actually mentioned, but like literally every other page has a word mention of poop. And it's like, not just like once, it's like poop, poop, poop over and over again. And it's like, oh my God, if I hear this author type the word poop one more time, I'm going to scream. I love this author. I think the book is really good. But why do you have to mention the word poop so many times? I gave it 4 stars just for that alone. The 10th book I read was The Contract by Melanie Moreland. And this book was good. I did give it 3 stars just because I felt like it wasn't as unique as it could be. It is an asshole hero, and it's called The Contract because it is a marriage for convenience. If you are a fan of Ella May's Marriage for One, I highly recommend this book. It is very similar to that. I really enjoyed it, but it was just kind of middle of the road for me because I've read so many marriage of convenience books that it just, nothing super unique, but it was very good. The next book I read was The Year We Fell Down by Serena Bowen. This was a huge letdown for me. I gave it 3 stars. I have been wanting to read this book for a long time. It is about a girl who's in a wheelchair and she goes to college away from her parents, and the guy next door who's also in the other handicap area is a guy who is a hockey player who broke his leg, and the two of them kind of connect because she's in a wheelchair, he has his leg in a cast, and so they get along the whole time. He has a girlfriend, and this book was a little boring for me, and I just didn't really, I didn't like the girlfriend. I didn't like the aspect of having like the girlfriend that is all about looks and is kind of rude to everybody, and I'm just over the mean girl trope. I think that we can write really good romance books where there's a strong female character and she doesn't have to be insecure about the prettier girl, and where the pretty girl has to be mean. Like, why is it always that pretty girls have to be like the really mean characters in books? Why can't we have a book about a girl who's gorgeous and is just right for the guy? Like, it just seems like every book that I read, it's like, oh, this character doesn't know how pretty she is, but I'm still gonna date this other girl because she's just that stunning. And it's like, I'm over that trope. The next book I picked up was The Baller by V. Keelan. This book, So it starts out a little slow. It's cute, and I really like the football romance in this. I'm a huge football fan, if you didn't know, so I really enjoyed this part of it. The guy is funny. The very first time he meets the heroine in this book, he like literally drops his towel and is like standing there naked in front of her, which I thought was so funny. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. The middle, halfway through, it really picked up for me. I did not expect that twist in the middle. I'm sure plenty of people will see that coming, but I did not. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how I didn't know who he was going to choose until almost the end of the book. I don't want to give too much away because it'll be way too much of a spoiler, but there is kind of, it's not really a love triangle in it. They both have passed. The main characters both have passed. She had a boyfriend who died on her young, and he had his first love, and his first love became addicted to drugs. And that's all I'm going to say, because I didn't see it coming, and it was so good, and it left me wondering what was going to happen till the very end. The 13th book I picked up was Where Winter Finds You by J.R. Ward. I gave this book 3 stars, which is really sad. But I really enjoyed the book in that Cress finally got his happily ever after. Cress is a shadow in the J.R. Ward Black Dagger Brotherhood books. And he had a full book called The Shadows, and he did not get a happily ever after. It was so sad. That ending was just heart-wrenching, and this is his finally like his happily ever after, and it involves reincarnation, and it was okay. I wanted so much more from this book, and I just didn't get it, and it was a little slow going to me and boring at parts, and I mean, it was okay. I'm super happy that Cress is finally having his happily ever after. That's the best part of this book, but the book itself was a little bit of a letdown. The 14th book that I picked up is The Boss Man by V. Keelan, and this book is so cute. It is about Chase and Parker, and I love Chase. Chase is hilarious. So from the very beginning, Reese is on a date, and she is like not happy with this guy at all. She's in the bathroom. She's trying to like get her friend to call her so she can like fake an emergency because she just does not want to be on a date with this guy. And Chase like calls her out on it, and then he joins her halfway through dinner and like fakes a relationship with her, saying like they're childhood friends. And his banter with her and his like off the cuff remarks and being able to make up a story just like on the spot is hilarious. This book was so good. I really enjoyed it. I did give it 4 stars. Really enjoyed this book. The 15th book that I read was Falling Crest High. This is by, I'm going to totally butcher this name, Tijan, Tijan. However you pronounce that is the name of the author. The book was batshit crazy. It is about a high schooler, and I think that's probably why I'm just kind of over this trope of high school bully romances. It's not actually a bully romance, though. It is about Mason and Logan Cade and Samantha. Samantha and Mason are the main couple in this story, and it is pretty interesting. Samantha's mother cheats on her father, and then it tells her just randomly, hey, we're moving in with, these guys. And she knows who these guys are. They're kind of like the bad boys of like the entire town. Everybody knows them. And she's in complete shock. And I thought, oh no, it's just going to be like this bully, romance where these guys like treat her like crap because she has to move in. But it's actually really not. They never treat her badly at all. They're very close. And I really enjoyed Mason and Sam's relationship. The story just kind of was all over the place, and it was interesting, and I enjoyed reading it, but it was just a little batshit crazy. And I enjoyed the audiobook of it, but I think I was listening to it so fast and doing other things that I might have missed a part or two because the ending didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm going to probably have to reread this next year sometime, like sit down and actually read ebook of it to continue on with the series, because it is interesting enough. I gave it 4 stars. It's interesting enough that I do want to continue on with the series, but I feel like I missed enough of this book that I need to reread it. Last but not least, I read Voyeur by Fiona Cole. This book I just finished up yesterday. It is so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I did give it 4 stars because it starts out, this is one of the hottest books I've read starting out. Like the first half of this book, whew, you want to talk about smut? Oh my goodness, this book's got it. Okay, so it is about Voyeur, which is a club, and it is an exclusive club with high-paying members who come and literally are voyeurs. They want to watch girls and guys get it on. And so this girl who is 18 and in college, she's got really shitty parents who took her scholarship money and like bought a car or something crazy. So she ends up going to work at this club, and she is a little nervous to start, but she ends up doing it, and it is a teacher-student relationship. The professor is super hot, and he ends up becoming obsessed with his student. He initially doesn't know it's his student, and he like checks her out and like has her do some stuff behind a window, and she can't see him, but he can see her, and and he like tells her what he wants her to do, and he pays well to do it. And this book was just, it was so hot at first. I mean, like the voyeur aspect of this book, whew, that was unique and sexy and so very hot. And then the book kind of went a little crazy. I enjoyed the professor-student relationship. Like, this whole book was just full of taboos that I just totally loved. But then it kind of went off on another thing, and the ending was, meh. So it started out like super hot, steamy 5-star, and then it kind of went down to like a 3-star, so I just gave it an average of 4. Anyway, the book was really enjoyable. I did really like it. I'm going to continue reading Fiona Cole's books. In fact, I'm starting on Lovers, which is a male-male female romance book, and it's mainly a male-male romance. Like, I know that the guys end up together and the girl like gets the shaft, so I totally get that. Anyway, that's the next book I'm going to read. What I'm currently reading is Blindsided by Amy Dawes. This is the first book that I read, and I won't lie, I've almost DNF'd this book twice. Mainly because I think I was in a little bit of a reading slump and I didn't want to read it. But I will say that this book is supposed to be a standalone, but I feel like I missed a lot by not reading her Endurance and those other books with the Harris brothers. Harrison brothers. It's supposed to be a standalone, but they are in this book a lot, and I feel like I'm missing out on understanding their storyline. The book is really cute, but there is a lot of body shaming from the girl she's a big, beautiful woman, and she is very insecure about herself, and she body shames herself, and she uses humor in a way to do it, but it's really quite sad. I mean, I can understand why she would do it, but at the same time, it's annoying to read about it over and over and over and over again in the book. Also, the humor is funny, but it's British and it's a little out there, and there's some things that I didn't understand the British humor on. So far this book's about a 3-star read to me. It is interesting because it is a friends to lovers romance. It is a let me teach you how to be, and it includes like a 30-year-old virgin, and it's a 3-star read. What can I say? That's it on the books that I read in the last 2 weeks. Now let me go on real quickly to my book haul. I bought Lingus by Mariana Zapata because I loved this book so much. It was so cute. I had to buy the book. Next book I picked up was Sex and Love by V. Keelan because I just adore this author and I want to own everything by her. I love her. I picked up Tide by L.J. Shin. I want to read more L.J. Shin books. I've only read Vicious, and I'm wanting to go ahead and start reading a couple more books in this next year by her. The next book I picked up was So Much More by Kim Holden. This is an author that is going to be at Book Bonanza. I've gotten 2 of her books now, so I'm really excited to go ahead and pick this up and read it. It looks like this is maybe a second chance romance. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks really cute. The next book I picked up was Beat by V. Keelan. This is a rockstar romance. Say no more. I am already here for it. I want to read this very soon. Next book I picked up was Goodbye Paradise. I love this book so much that I wanted to own it. I want to get the other book in the series as well. This is about Josh and Caleb, and they are in a cult, and they run away together, and it is their love story, and it is so sweet, beautiful, LBGT romance. Love this book. Next book I picked up was Good Boy by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. This was on sale for like $7 and something on Amazon, and I had to pick it up. I know that this is the Him and Us spinoff, and I really enjoyed Him. I haven't read Us yet, but I do own it, and I will get to it very soon, so I cannot wait to get into the series some more. And the last book that I picked up was We Shouldn't by V. Keelan. I love this author, one of my very favorite authors, and I just cannot wait to pick this up. This cover is stunning. Cannot wait to read this book. So that's it for me for the last couple of weeks. I will update you guys very soon again.